This sounds crazy, but most IELTS students would significantly improve their speaking score if they stopped trying to impress their examiner. By trying to impress their examiner, they're making 4 catastrophic mistakes that immediately get them penalized, resulting in a poor score. In this video, I'm going to show you what they are and how to fix them so that you can avoid them. Starting with our first big mistake, and it's a big one because by making this mistake, students significantly limit their ability to speak naturally, they become inflexible and generally put themselves under unnecessary stress. Imagine you're on a first date. Every time you ask a question, they talk beautifully, and overall it sounds impressive. But when you go beyond, tell me about yourself and what do you do for a living type of questions, they stumble. They hesitate, they can't think of the right word. This is exactly what happens when students memorize their answers. Examiners see right through you. They can tell when a student gives a memorized answer. It's like listening to someone in karaoke singing a song they don't know. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Now, many students think that they won't get caught, but you can't fool a person who marks students every single day. They can tell that you sound robotic, your intonation is flat, and having perfect answers for a question that is common in part 1 and then fumbling through the conversation in part 3 is a clear giveaway. As a result, your answer gets discounted and your performance will be marked on a harder question that you weren't prepared for. So you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage when you memorize answers. So what do I do if I don't have an answer? You can either borrow a story from a TV show you watched or a relevant story that happened to your friend if it's relevant and you're comfortable retelling stories. But it's a high risk, high reward approach that I'd only suggest advanced students try. This way, it won't require much mental effort because you're simply retelling what you saw. But it's important to understand that it's not bad or good to make up examples on the test when giving a response. It simply doesn't matter. You will be graded on your English, not on the information you provide. Having said that, the best thing that you can do is practice. And I know you're sitting there telling me that there are tons of topics and it's impossible to prepare for all of them. But what I want you to do is to prepare for specific types of questions rather than topics. Here's what I mean. Let me know in the comments if you want a video on how to prepare for each type of question to demonstrate your fluency in the speaking part. Now let's move to mistake number 2. But before I reveal what this mistake is, do you know how examiners assess your speaking? Here are 4 jars that represent each of the criteria that comprise to your overall score. It's fluency, grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary. What I see students are obsessed with is showing a wide range of vocabulary and grammar. And while demonstrating flexibility in grammar and extensive vocabulary are necessary for a good score, many students tend to push this further and use vocabulary and grammar that they're not comfortable with yet. Let's say you use some topic specific vocabulary and you get some extra point for it. And you also use some complex sentences, so you get extra point for that. Great, right? But if you're not confident in using this vocabulary and grammar, you're likely to pause, hesitate, and potentially you might lose some points in your fluency and pronunciation. And if the vocabulary that you used wasn't accurate, you also might lose some points too. If you make a mistake using that specific grammar, you might also lose points and overall it's gonna hurt your score. Because examiners have to evaluate your English in such a short time, each moment of hesitation is a signal to them that you can't use this grammar or vocabulary naturally. Think of a guitarist who plays a song for the first time. They hesitate. They stop to remember the right chords or how to place their fingers properly. Compare it to a guitar player who has played the same song hundreds of times. They're effortless and natural. This is exactly the same in English. It takes time and practice to use advanced vocabulary and grammar without second guessing. So don't use grammar and vocabulary you're not comfortable with or unsure about, because it will affect your intonation and flow of speech, which examiners will notice. Whatever vocabulary and grammar you know, when the exam starts, is what you have. Don't risk trying to use anything you have not mastered. And don't worry about it, because if you do, you can end up damaging other parts of the criteria. Now, we're ready to move on to mistake number 3, which is not about what you do, it's about what you don't do. The good news is that you can fix it in 2 seconds. But first, let's take a look at how badly this could be hurting your score. In part 3, your examiner will be asking you questions. And these questions are more difficult and more abstract than in speaking part 1. They might contain a synonym that you're not familiar with, or you might mishear a key word because of stress. And what many students do is answer the wrong question, and they get penalized for that. So stay focused and listen to the examiner carefully. But if you don't understand a question, it's perfectly fine to ask for clarification. Many students feel like they can ask examiners to repeat a question or clarify it for them. Remember, you're not graded on your listening. This is the speaking part, and you're only scored on your speaking, not listening. An examiner might have a strong Scottish accent, so it's okay to ask your examiner to repeat or rephrase a question. Obviously, don't do it too often, and remember, you can only do that in part 3. If you don't understand a simple question from part 1, then you're not ready to take the IELTS exam. If you didn't understand the question in part 1, then try to figure out the question from the topic. That obviously will hurt your score. However, it's the best advice I can give you in this situation. And now we're moving on to mistake number 4, which is the most common mistake ever. Because of this mistake, students lose their points in their fluency and coherence and pronunciation. But it's another one you can fix easily. Imagine your examiner asks you, what do you like to eat for breakfast? And you go, for breakfast, I typically enjoy a hearty combination of wholemeal toast with avocado and poached eggs, accompanied by a bowl of mixed berries and natural yogurt. This balanced meal, as funny as it may sound, many students do that. They speak too fast. They think it shows fluency. They think they're demonstrating that they don't need much time to respond to a question, or they're just nervous. As a result, they mispronounce words or don't articulate them well, and they often ramble on and on going off topic. One important thing that many students don't realize is that the pace of your speech affects your internal state. When we speak fast, we often feel insecure, we feel vulnerable. And quite the opposite. When we speak at a slightly lower pace, we feel that we control the situation. And other people sense that. By speaking slower and taking a pause before organizing your thoughts, you demonstrate confidence. And your responses become smooth and natural. In IELTS, taking a pause to gather your thoughts is fine. And I encourage you to do that. Taking a pause because you forgot a word or how to build a conditional sentence, on the other hand, is a problem, and examiners can tell the difference. When you speak fast and then you have to stop because you forgot a word, your brain goes into panic mode and you immediately forget everything. So take it slow to reduce hesitation on a test day, and also learn to structure your answers so that when you're taking that pause, you're actively thinking of what you're going to say to give the best response. Here are a few ways to structure your answers. Now you know how to avoid the most common mistakes that students make in the speaking part. If you like this video, you might also find this one useful, where I share tips and tricks to get the best score in your reading test. After watching this video, you'll have a clear idea how to prepare for your reading test. Thanks for watching this video till the end. Until next time, bye.